sure what I want to build. You know what I mean? Like, what the fuck do I build? I'd say I might just commit for full AD. Chainsword Manamune into fucking Eclipse, honestly. But if Gragas at least get fed, then I'll go Maw. Like, low-key. Eyeliner and cigarette. Loving you is terrifying. I'm your biggest fan. I follow you. Why is my map so big? Because I'm overcompensating for my very small penis. So I think if I have a bigger map, it's like, maybe I won't feel as insecure about the size of my member. Does that make sense? I had over 18 kills with Eclipse early game, felt like I had to. So that's the thing about Eclipse, is that it hits really hard at 3 items, but before then it doesn't feel that great, right? So that's why I think Eclipse is good for a lower elo Hecarim build, but when you're getting into higher elos, that's why I switched over to Chainsword Rush. Because Chainsword Rush opens you up to more like viability. Because like I'm the one who literally made the Eclipse build, and I'm the one who doesn't use it, you know? Like, I'm the one who made the build, and I don't even use it, because I was like, nah, there's a bit of weakness here. But with this build of going Chainsword Rush, it really doesn't feel weak at all. Yeah, keep doing your fucking baits, fat boy. Keep doing your baiting. A little fucking dancing. Yeah, fucking dance to fucking heaven, fat bitch. Hey, it ain't diabetes that's taking you out this game, Gragas. It's the fucking Hecarim. Oh. In game. In game. In the video game. Why you make weak builds and give it to people? But that's the thing, if you look at Eclipse's win rate, like Pot Plus, it's his highest win rate build. So it's just good for a really low elo Hecarim build, but high elo it's not. Remember what's we're fighting for. Meet me at the battlefield, even on your darkest night. Phase Rush over Conqueror? So the reason why I go Phase Rush every game is because in high elo, the way people counter Hecarim is by spam invading him, right? So that's why when I sit here and I have Phase Rush every game, it makes it impossible for these people to do that shit to me. That's why. It's just because it minimizes how hard you can be punished. Because I'll tell you guys something. When it comes to items and runes, a lot of the time, you don't want to amplify a champion's strength. You want to minimize their weakness. It's like he's paying the cannon tax. Eclipse POP win rate high? Well, I can tell you right now why Eclipse's win rate is so high. It's because if you can start steamrolling in a Nilo where people don't know what they're doing, hold on. I died? To what? Wow. But anyways, so the reason why is because if you can start steamrolling, right, then Eclipse makes it so you don't really need Q stacks to do damage, right? But with this like chainsword build, like Q stacks literally are like your entire damage. It's weird. It's because like Hecarim's base damage right now without Q stacks is enough that he can like do an insane amounts of damage, right? But if you get the Q stacks, it makes it even more insane. But Eclipse just puts you at such a high bar already that you don't really need the Q stacks to already like one shot everybody. That's like essentially why. But I would say this. I would say a really good Hecarim player is like really good Hecarim players never build Divine Sunder, and they also never go Conquer. Divine with Conquer is like the low skill way of like winning games. Because it severely handicaps the amount of skill expression you can have in team fights. When you go for Phase Rush and other mythic setups, the other mythics allow for infinitely more skill expression than Divine Conquer does. So that's like a gang thing that no Hecarim player really does besides me. I mean, some people watch my streams picked up on it, but yeah. It's like eating to a minion and then using R to like set up a gank that otherwise would be impossible. So use your E to like get in the lane, and then they don't really have time to react if you just like E to a minion and then use like the propel to ult easier, right? I mean, I saw Tarzan doing it recently, actually. But he learned that from me, so it's hype. How are you gonna say no one? Because the thing that you have to understand is that I'm the one who, like, most of the Hecarim mechanics that you're gonna see nowadays, they're things that I popularized. Right? But you could have just ulted? No. Because don't forget, guys, the thing that you have to understand is that I would say that I'm better mechanically than every single other Hecarim player on the planet, right? And the reason why, it's like really, it's like it makes sense when you hear it. But it pretty much just has to do with the fact that, fuck. But it pretty much just has to do with the fact that I played lane Hecarim for like literally 5,000 games or something, right? Literally like 5,000 games. And when you play lane Hecarim, you have to play mechanically insane every game, because in lane, mechanics are how you win lane. Like, sure, you can win lane with like knowledge of lane states and shit like that, but it takes good mechanics. Does that make sense? So that's why it's one of those things where like there were so many like mechanics I learned of Hecarim by playing him in lane for so long that then when I started playing jungle, I kind of translated my lane mechanics to like jungle. And then that's how I like took my Hecarim from, let's say, diamond level to like challenger level, right? Angel of Darkness. Gargus. You know what? I'll just take plates. You done 10k games of Hecarim on a short amount of time, the best Hecarim I've seen. The reason I took down my best Hecarim world title. Aww. Thank you. But yeah, that's what it was. But unironically, I'll say one thing. One of the guys who has some of the best Hecarim mechanics ever is Romanium. That was one of the only other guys that could play Hecarim top. Because when Hecarim top was viable back in like season 10, I think it was, there were only like 4 people on the entire NA server, Diamond Plus, who could actually play Hecarim top, right? And it was me, it was Fady, it was Romanium, and then after I started streaming, there were like a few more, like maybe 2 more afterwards, but it was like us 3, and then I think like one other guy, I forget who. And it was like, I would watch the way he would play these like fights and shit, and like the way he would react when he get ganked, and like running around enemies. Like when I have my Q active, right, and I'm running around enemies like this, right, like shit like that, right, using Q while having your E active. That's what I learned from him, actually. So it's just that I learned it from him, and then I just played so many more games, I got better at it than he was, you know. Perfect. Django Hecarim top? Was that guy on NA? He wasn't on NA. Because there were a couple of EU ones. I didn't mention the EU ones, but in EU there was like there was Tatter. He was one of them, and then there was this other one, Bato. Those were the 2 ones from EU that I know. Oh. Alrighty, thanks for sub. Welcome back. So the thing about OPGG is that OPGG, when it calculates like who the best at a certain champion is, they're only taking into account so the only things they take into account are game count above Diamond 2. So if you're above Diamond 2 and you have the most games on the champion, then they say you're the best, right? But I mean, if that's the case, dude, I've literally had the best Hecarim on OPGG for like 4 years now. I'm not even kidding, like 3-4 years now. But this season I don't, because I don't stick to one account. But if I did stick to one account, it's like goes crazy. Did you say Dato? No, Bato. It was Bato. Fuck. Good. Alrighty. First game of Hecarim ever on this account.